Hi guys, in this video, I'm going to discuss some helpful tips for how to solve maths for 11 plus exam. I'm going to discuss some questions and how to solve them, some shortcuts and some other ideas. This is part 2 of my maths for 11 plus exam and I'm going to provide link for maths for 11 plus exam part 1 in the description box below. Please feel free to look at the videos and if there are any problems, any doubts, any questions, please feel free to drop me a message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Okay, let's start with some questions. In the question 1, there's a triangle given. It says what is the size of the angle X in the diagram below. And this diagram, it hasn't been drawn accurately. If you see, it is a right angled triangle. Right angled triangle means one of the angles is equal to 90 degrees. And we also know angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So the missing angle in the triangle is, because we have a right angle triangle where one angle is 90 degrees. Second angle we've been given as equal to 15 degrees. So the third angle is, all three angles should add up to 180. Two of them are 90 and 15. So if you add 90 and 15, it gives you 105. So 105 taken away from 180 gives you 75 degrees. So the third internal angle of a triangle is equal to 75 degrees. Right, now they are asking you to find the size of the angle X in the diagram. If you look at the triangle given, the external circle, it's not a complete circle, it is equal to X. So you also need to know that all the angles in a circle add up to 360. And this circle, it has been drawn around a point. So some part of this circle is the angle inside the triangle, the third angle we just found out, which was equal to 75 degrees. So we know the angle which is inside the triangle of the circle is 75 degrees. And we know the whole circle around a point, the angle inside the whole circle add up to 360 degrees. So it's really simple now. We know that X, the whole of the external angle, is 360 minus 75 degrees. So we know now that angle X is equal to 285 degrees. Okay, let's move on to the next question. The second question says, what is 1 squared plus 2 squared plus 3 squared plus 4 squared equal to? Circle the correct option. You're given 5 options where A is 10, B is 20, C is 31, D is 11 and E is 30. For questions like this, you need to remember every number which has been given here is to be squared first. If you remember from BODMAS, O stands for orders, that means to the power of, has to be solved first. So we know 1 squared means 1 times 1 plus 2 squared, which is 2 times 2. Plus 3 squared, which is 3 times 3, plus 4 squared, which is 4 times 4. So 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, and 4 times 4 is 16. So once we have solved the square part, we can now go on to add them together. So 1 plus 4 plus 9 is 14. Plus 16 equals to 30. So that gives us the option E as the right option. The next question says, Sunny buys 20 sweets from the sweet shop. 75% are lemon, 1/10 are apple, and the rest are blackcurrant flavor. How many sweets are blackcurrant flavor? Right. To solve questions like this, first of all, you need to look at 75% are lemon. 75% is 3/4. So let's start by taking a simple fraction. Let's start by finding 1/4, which is 25% of 20. So 1/4 or 25% of 20 is 5. So if 25% of 20 is 5, that means 75%, which is 3/4 of 20, should be 5 times 3 equals to 15. So number of lemon sweets is equal to 15. Okay, the next part says 1/10 are apple. So 1/10 of 20 simply means 20 divided by 10, which gives us 2. So number of apple sweets is equal to 2. And the rest are blackcurrant flavor. So you know, 15 out of 20 are lemon sweets, 2 are apple. So adding them together, we get 17. 15 plus 2 equal to 17. Total number of sweets is equal to 20. 2 of the flavors are 17. So 20 take away 17 gives you 3. So that means the rest are blackcurrant flavor. So the number of blackcurrant sweets is equal to 3. Moving on to the next question. It says a cuboid with a width of 5 centimeter and a height of 6 centimeter has a volume of 300 centimeter cube. What is the length of the cuboid? The formula to find out the volume of a cuboid is length times width times height. So here you are given volume of cuboid, which is 300. You need to find out the length. Width is 5 and the height is 6. So you know the total volume is 300. Width and height together, when you times them, 5 times 6 gives you 30. So now you need to find out one number which you times by 30 and it gives you 300. So 30 times some number gives you 300. To find that, all I did was 300 divided by 30. So I know 300 divided by 30 gives me 10. So that means the length of the cuboid is 10 centimeters. To check that, you can simply times 30 times 10. So you know 30 times 10 gives you 300. So that means we've got the right answer. Next question says, divide 500 pounds in the ratio 3:1. So 500 pounds has been divided in 4 parts, where one part is 3 times the second part. So total number of parts in the ratio are 3 plus 1 equals 4. So 500 divided by 4 gives us 125 pounds. That means each part in the ratio is equal to 125 pounds. So if you multiply 125 by each side of the ratio, so the first side of the ratio is equals to 3. So 125 times 3 gives you 375 pounds. And the second side of the ratio, which is 1. So 125 times 1 gives you 125 pounds. So that means 500 divided into the ratio 3:1 gives you 375 pounds is to 125 pounds. The next question says divide each of these numbers by 10. You're given 4 different questions to solve. You need to remember when you divide by 10, each digit moves one place to the right. So if you look at the diagram, the hundreds become tens, tens become units, units become tenths, that means a digit after the decimal, tens become hundred, and so on. So to divide a whole or a decimal number by 10, so you just move the decimal point one place to the left. Note that although a whole number does not have a decimal point, we can always use it at the end of a number. So let's solve the questions together. 78.65. So as we know, the decimal moves one place to the left because the number is getting smaller. You are dividing, you need to remember. So the number is going to get smaller. So 78.65. The decimal moves to the left and the digits move to the right. So 78.65 becomes 7.865. Second, 6.54 becomes 0.654. Because once you move 6 to the right, there's nothing before decimal. So you can always include a 0 before decimal. So you can have 0.654 or just decimal 654. The third question says 467.5. The answer would be 46.75. And in the last one, we have a whole number 123. As there is no decimal at the end, so just to give you a nice idea, so I've put 123.0. So I put a decimal and a 0 after it. And a 0 after decimal does not make a difference. It doesn't mean anything. So it's still 123, a whole number. But just to give you a better idea of how a decimal would move from one place to the left, so I've put 123 decimal 0. So that would be equal to 12.3 because the decimal is moving from after 3 to before 3. So it would be 12.3. Okay, let's move on to the next question. It says multiply each of these numbers by 1000. Okay, there's a similar shortcut for multiplying decimal numbers by numbers such as 10, 100 or 1000. All you do is move the decimal place to the right as many places as there are zeros zeros in the factor. So move the decimal point one step to the right because 10 has 1 0. So move the decimal point 2 steps to the right if you have 100 because 100 has 2 zeros. So there's a similar shortcut for multiplying. So in this case, you just need to remember the number is getting bigger because you're multiplying. So the first question is 37.8. So as we know the decimal, we have 3 zeros in the factor. So 37.8 becomes 37,800. Second one, 0.047 becomes 47. So you can even write 47.0 just to show that the decimal has moved 3 places to the right, or you can write it as 47. 2.45 becomes 2,450. 412 becomes 412,000. So 41230. If it's a whole number, it's very easy to multiply by factor of 10, 100 and 1000. Just count the number of zeros at the end, and in your answer just include that many number of zeros. So if it's 10, so it becomes 4,120, just 1 0 at the end. Similarly, if it's 100, so you add 2 zeros at the end, and so on. Right, let's move on to the next question. You are given a shape. There are 2 different rectangles combined. So they say what is the perimeter of the shape, and the second part of the question says what is the area of the shape. So in this one, you need to remember both shapes are rectangles where opposite sides measure the same. So if the first rectangle in blue, so if one side is 6, that means the opposite side of this rectangle, if it was complete, would be 6 as well. Similarly, the pink one, if the length of one side is 8, that means the opposite side would have the same length. So I've written 5 and 8 to help you. As you see, there is some gap and you haven't been given any measurement for the one side of the pink rectangle. We know in the blue one, the whole length is 6 centimeter. So that means the length of one side of the pink rectangle would be 2. So using this one, let's find out the perimeter. To find perimeter, just add the length of all the sides together. So in this one, so when we are adding all the sides together, we add 5 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 8 plus 2 plus 8. So the perimeter is 38 centimeters. But to calculate the area, you need to think of this as 2 individual rectangles. You find the area of 2 rectangles and then you add them together. So the first one, the blue one, you know the length and width. So one side is 6 centimeter, another one is 5 centimeter. So 5 times 6. And for the second time, 8 times 2. So together 30 plus 16 gives you 46 centimeter square, right? Let's move on to the next one. It says simplify the following expressions using common factors where possible. The first one says 3c plus 4d plus 5d minus c. So the common factor means which are alike. So in this one, 3c and c, they both have c, the like term. Similarly, 4d and 5d, they both got d, the like term. So 3c minus c. So now we are going to write them by rearranging. So writing the like terms together. So it's easier to add or subtract them later on. So I'm writing this again as 3c minus c plus 4d plus 5d. So 3c minus c. So if there is no number before a letter, so that simply means it has 1. So 3c minus 1c, it's 2c. 4d plus 5d is 9d. The second one, 5a minus 2b plus 3a minus 4b. Again, I'm rewriting by combining the like terms together. 5a plus 3a minus 2b minus 4b. Always remember to write the sign if it's a positive or a negative right next to the term. So 5a plus 3a gives you 8a minus 2b minus 4b. 2 negative numbers they add, but the sign is always negative. So 8a minus 6b. Similarly, the last one, 4x squared minus 3x plus x squared plus 4x. So 4x squared, here you have all terms which are alike. So now the only difference is out of 4, 2x are squared, whereas other 2, they are not squared. They don't have any square number next to them. So 4x squared plus x squared minus 3x plus 4x. So you get 5x squared plus x. x. In the next question, it says find the HCF of 60 and 72. HCF, the highest common factor, is found by finding all common factors of two numbers or three numbers or however many numbers you're asked to find the HCF of and selecting the largest one. And a factor is a number that divides into another number exactly or doesn't have a remainder. So factors of 60, that means all the numbers that go into 60 without leaving a remainder are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 15, 20, 30 and 60. And similarly, I've given you factors for 72. So if you look at all the factors together, the ones in red are the common factors. But now you need to look at the highest common factor. So in both of these, you have 12 as the highest common factor. So the highest common factor of 60 and 72 is 12. Let's look at another example. Find the HCF of 18 and 30. So the factors of 18 are 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 18. And for 30, they are 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, 15, 30. They are all the numbers that completely divide into 30 because 30 divided by 1 is 30, 30 divided by 2. So 2 goes into 30 15 times, 3 goes into 30 10 times, so on. So the common factors are highlighted in red. So we have 1, 2, 3 and 6 as the common factors. However, out of all the common factors, 6 is the highest. So the highest common factor or HCF of 18 and 30 is 6. Next one says, what are the LCM of these numbers? So you are given two questions. First one is 6, 8, 16, 12 and 24. For least common multiple, the simplest way is to write down all the multiples of the numbers given until you find the lowest common multiple in all of them together. For example, for 6, writing down the multiple simply means writing down the times table. So I've written the times table of 6, 8, 16, 12 and 24. And if you look closely in all of the multiples of these numbers, I can see 48 is the lowest number or the lowest multiple which appears in all of the numbers given. So the lowest common multiple in this case of all the numbers 6, 8, 16, 12 and 24 is 48. Is the first multiple we found in both the lists. The next example is find the LCM of 9, 4, 18, 36 and 6. Once again, I started by writing down the multiples of all of the numbers given. That means I just wrote down their times table. And then when I look closely, the first multiple I found in all of these lists were 36. So that means LCM of 9, 4, 18, 36 and 6 is 36. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you like my effort, please do like, share and subscribe. Good luck with your prep.